Episode 1 of Season 2, the opening shot where he's running down the hallway. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Have you ever had feelings for cinematography and camera work? Because I'm having feelings
Yeah.
for it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back 2 years later to Nerd Cassette Season 4. Or is it Season 3?
Something like that.
I don't know. It's been a very long time since we've been on here, but welcome back. For those of you that are still here, thank you for staying with us, even though we didn't post for a very long time. And if you're new, my name is Gato,
And I'm Gabe.
and this is the Nerd Cassette podcast. And this is the podcast where my friend Gabe and I, who have been friends for over 10 years now, yeah,
Wow, it's been that long?
yeah, we met in 2014, so we're officially over
Jeez.
10 years. Um, anyway, we like to jump on here and talk about all things.
Nerdy.
We talk a lot of
nerdy. Yeah.
yeah, anything nerdy. Honestly, like we talk a lot about mostly like movies and TV shows, because we're both pretty big movie buffs, I would say. We've both worked on film stuff as well, and we love cinematography and storylines, and we're all about that. So we love talking about movies. We like talking about video games, and like Gabe said, anything nerdy.
Yeah, we hope you're nerds too, and with film or gaming or anything like that. Anything nerdy will be the place that you'll want to watch and listen to for it. Anything like that.
Yeah, that's right. But goodness, 2 years since we last posted.
I know
Um,
it's crazy how long it's been.
so I mean, we did. I keep wanting to talk about the other podcasts we tried to start but failed.
Somewhere on YouTube land, you can find another podcast that we attempted, which didn't last that long because we ran out of topics.
How do we run out of that topic?
I
We're
don't know. And I think that's funny because we tried something that we thought would be in our alley, right up our alley, but it really wasn't. And I think it comes back to just us being nerds. I think it's just much more. There's so much to talk
it,
about, right?
for real. I think we tried to like hone in on like certain topics and stay in like one lane.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean I think maybe I had a lot to do with it because I was like, no, we got to pick a topic and stay with it. And I think it might have worked maybe for one or two episodes but for the most part, it I don't know. Again, you and I always deviate into nerdy things. Whatever we're talking about, we
Yep.
always resort back to a video game, a movie, TV show. Um,
Yep.
so we tried to force something, or maybe I should say, I tried to force something that just didn't really match
Nah, because
who we
I was
truly
part of it
are.
too. I was part of it too because I was thinking, I was like, wow, this would be great. We can do like the local stuff and that'll go great with the theme of our podcast. But it's like,
Yeah.
and it's only like once a
So
year it happens. So I was like,
yeah,
nah.
that was it was a I don't want to say a failed podcast. I think it was just
It was
a
a good
different
side
take.
gig.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was fun to do, but yeah, we run out of topics and things to talk about.
Yeah.
But we just both like talking and about again nerdy stuff.
Yeah.
So
So we're
we're back.
back. Jinx. We're back to
One, two, three,
talking
four,
about
five,
nerdy
six, seven,
stuff.
eight, 6, 7, 8. You owe me a soda.
Yeah. No.
So today we want to talk about
Okay.
Severance.
Yes. And this is kind of the reason why we want to be back because Severance is now what one of the hit shows, number one hit shows.
Mm-hmm.
has everything you want in it, like cinematography, good story,
Hmm.
just
Hmm.
everything. And we'll dive more into that today, right? But I was like, the moment when I saw Severance, and then you and I started talking about, I got you into the show, right? And I was like,
Yeah,
man, we gotta talk about this.
well, you got me into this show because you allowed me to watch the
Oh
show.
yeah,
So I'm actually kind of curious because from from season 1 to season 2 there was a 3-year gap. Did
yeah.
you know that?
Has it
Okay,
been that long?
apparently that's what I keep seeing online is
No
people
way.
are people are saying, are we going to wait 3 years for season 3?
Mm.
Um but so I'm curious cuz I we didn't really talk about it that much because when we talked about it, it was like what 2 weeks ago, very close to the to season 2 finale. Um we were hanging out and then you brought it up and I told you I didn't have Apple
Yeah,
TV.
yeah, yeah.
But that I kept hearing about the show but just never got to watch it. So then you were graceful enough to allow us into the family plan that you have,
You're part of the family,
and
man.
yeah, yeah, we are. Um, and we were able to watch it, but um, because we hadn't seen anything, we didn't really talk about anything at all. So, had you seen season 1 when it first came out,
No,
or did you watch it later?
I think we watched it like maybe a year ago. So we
Oh, okay.
were. It was. I think it was one of those things like, oh, I want to watch that. That was like on our watch list, and so
Hmm.
I don't think we had watched it for a long time. And so it's still kind of. It was great for us because it was still fresh, right? The
Hmm.
anticipation was like a year. What sucks now is that is it going to be another 3 years, and we have to wait
Right,
much
right.
longer.
Uh, so that's cool because you got to experience season 1 and then wait and then
Yeah,
go to season 2.
yeah,
And but what was cool for us is that we were able to binge watch everything
yeah.
back to back.
How I remember I sent you the credentials. I added you to the family, and then like next like couple days you're like, wow, we just finished season 1. It's crazy. I was like, what the heck? Like
Listen,
how many
listen.
episodes a night?
Uh, I think 3 or 4 is
A
what we were
night.
watching.
Holy
Yeah.
smokes.
So okay, I don't want people to think that we have nothing else to do. Like in truth, I feel like I'm a really busy person like that. I always have something going on. Um, but we just happened to we just happened to get the login on a it was last weekend, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and we just happened to not have anything planned out.
Perfect.
And so we got the login. I think it was like a Friday night or something like that because I remember you were asking me like, "Hey, what's the email?" And I told Amber and I was like, "Hey, like let's get your email to him." And it still took a few days.
It
Finally,
did.
she gets it to you, and then she's able to log in, and it was like I don't know 8 p.m. Around that time when we logged in, and she's like, "Well, do you want to start it? Do you want to watch the first episode?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." Like we had nothing going on. I think that night we went to bed at like 12:30 a.m. because we just couldn't stop. I mean, episode 1, 2, 3, I think 4.
Yeah.
And it's just it just grabs you. It's
Right?
like the I think the
The
word you used was
concept.
like well the mystery
Yeah.
is like you just want to know what's happening.
Right?
Um, and then Saturday I didn't have to work. She didn't have to work, so we watched more episodes. And then Sunday I think we still watched one episode.
Oh man.
Um, and yeah, and then this last week. So what today's Monday, right? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So all of last week we watched season 2 and we slowed down a little bit
Okay.
because I remember I told you about it and you're like, "Hey, the finale's coming out this Friday if you want to watch it together." I'm like, "I don't think we're going to be able to watch it all by then." I was actually thinking we would still be finishing it this week. Um but we got to a point where it's like we just have to know.
Yeah, had I known you were gonna finish it on Saturday,
Yeah.
we would have waited for you so we could watch it together. But
I didn't know. Because we um we stopped at um oh my goodness. Which episode did we watch? I think we watched Sweet Vitriol, I think it's what it's called.
okay,
It's the one that's focused on Miss Cobell.
yes, yes.
And
Oh,
it's
her
the
like
lowest
side story, yeah.
yeah, it's the lowest rated episode of the whole
The
series. It's
shortest
like
one too, right?
yeah, and it's at 6.7.
Dang,
Um
that low. Okay.
it's pretty low compared
Yeah,
to the rest of the
yeah.
show. I don't think it deserves more than that. It's
It was a good um peek into her life and her
yeah.
like her backstory, right? I thought
Yeah, go.
because I was thinking I was like towards halfway I was like, man, we haven't seen Mark in
Hmm.
a and I was like, what are we watching? There was a point where I was like, are we still watching Severance? Because it was I felt like it was kind of it veered way off course on that one.
Okay, so my thoughts on that specific episode, I mean, yeah, we don't see any of the main characters. Um and I mean, I don't like Miss Cobell.
You don't like her,
I don't
okay? You still don't like her.
I mean,
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand. I get it. I
I
get it.
okay, listen. I recognize the actress.
Yes.
Um and I have the unfortunate mind that
Mm,
sometimes I can't. I don't want to say that I can't separate actors from the characters because this show's actually very immersive and it does like I forget about everything. I'm like super into the show, right? I'm
yeah.
I'm not saying that I'm like always thinking about the actors or anything like that, but the moment I realized who she was and what other characters she had played, those feelings of like, oh, I hate that character, just kind of transferred over to her, and then her character in the show didn't help,
Yeah.
and yeah, there's a little bit of redemption, I guess, but
It's still in her own self-interest though, right?
yeah, I still don't trust her, I should say.
Yeah. Nah, I think so.
Um,
That's a good because
she she
my
she
from I know her from recently was The Act on Hulu,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
And she was
Yep.
a she was a mean character there too.
Mm-hmm.
So I
That's
understand that transfer, right?
yeah. That's exactly where all that hate came from, and I don't hate the actress. I think the actress is fantastic. Um, but yeah, I think there's like a little bit of a subconscious,
Which is good. That's probably why
dislike.
they chose her, right?
Possibly. I mean, this show is genius in so many ways that I wouldn't doubt it if that was true.
Okay, side thing. Like kind of goes along with that. We started watching The Bear, right?
All right.
And then seeing Joel McHale as the I just couldn't take him seriously
Really?
because I know him from Community, right?
Right.
And we haven't we I think we stopped like episode 3 or 2 or 3, right? So I haven't
It
seen
was
more of
just
him. So the only time I've seen was with that episode. And so I was like, Joel McHale? I can't see him as this head
like
chef,
this.
mean Gordon Ramsay type guy. It's like, no, I don't believe. So I think that kind of like they have that stereotype or that typecast, right? With Patricia Arquette, with her character, with The Act, and now with Joel McHale with Community, and I was like, I don't know,
uh okay, so that's interesting because I actually appreciated him in the bear
really. Is it because
because
it went on, or the moment you saw him, you're like, oh, this is, I believe it.
okay, to be honest, when I first saw him, I was like, whoa, like
Yeah,
that's not a typical role for him.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
I
yeah,
also associate him with comedy and
yeah,
sarcasm and stuff like that. And he doesn't play that type of mean.
yeah,
Like he's a mean guy in Community, but it's in a funny way.
yeah, yeah.
In The Bear, it's very he's mean.
Yeah,
Like
malicious, right?
he's kind of a jerk, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But later on, as his
No
character also
spoilers.
like
No spoilers,
okay,
please.
he's there later on.
Okay, okay,
And I actually do like I like his acting and I like it.
okay.
Also, he's a really sweet guy. I met him.
Whoa,
I
no
don't know.
way.
I don't know if that's gonna focus on my phone. Yeah, there we go.
No way.
Yeah.
What the? That's so sweet.
And he's a genuine nice guy. He is so nice. Side story, can I tell you about
Yeah,
this
let's do
encounter?
it.
So this was at the Fanex here in Salt Lake.
Yeah.
We're saying where we're from, right?
I think we already did, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I was like, that's okay, right? Yeah, okay. Anyway, yeah, it was at Fanex, not last year, it was 2023. And so Amber and I had these shirts. I don't know if you noticed that, but
Yeah.
she had Pedro Pascal and I had Nicolas Cage on my shirt. And we were basically that meme.
Okay, okay,
And
yeah.
we were just going through the actors tables and stuff like that for photo not photo ops, for signatures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And his line wasn't that long, and he was actually one of the, I don't want to say cheaper ones, but he was lower priced, you know, like nothing crazy like 150 bucks or anything. Like it was like $40 or something like that to meet him and get an autograph or something. Um so Amber and I were like, yeah, let's go meet him. Like we had just watched Community, so it was kind of like it's kind of fun, right? We had the little die that we're gonna throw up, like that
Oh
episode in
my
Community.
gosh. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Good
Um,
throwback.
but we got in line, and we were like 3 or 4 people behind from meeting him, and then he had to go do his photo ops. And so he came out and he just kind of apologized to everybody. He's like, "Hey, I'm really sorry, guys. Like, I have to go for like 30 minutes, but I'll be back. Like, hopefully, I'll see you." But then he looked at us and he's like he just said thank you for being here, like bye, and then he left. So we went and walked around, and then we decided to come back. And when we got in line again, he spotted us in line, and he was like, yeah, like I don't know, kind of like a I see you, right?
Yeah,
Like I
yeah, yeah.
remember you. And then when it was like our turn, one, he laughed at our shirts and he said it was really funny. And then he spent a good like 5 minutes just talking to us. Like he was
Wow.
just super nice, and he's like, "Oh, yeah, Community was great, and like it's you guys are awesome, and it's sweet, and this and that." And he's like, "You guys want to take some pictures? Let's take some pictures." And I'm like, "Ah, okay." And he's like, "All right." So we started taking some pictures, and then we showed him the die to throw. He's like,
Okay,
"Oh
yeah, yeah.
yeah." Anyway, he was super awesome. He was really funny. He didn't feel like an egotistical person, actor, or whatever. Um, so knowing how nice he is in real life and then seeing him in that role in The Bear, I actually appreciate him as an actor even more.
Okay. All right.
So
Okay.
I can't wait for you to get further into the show.
Okay. All right. All right.
Um, how far into it are you?
Like episode 2 or 3, I think.
Oh,
Like in
you're
the
very early
beginning,
in the
very,
stages.
very early. Yeah.
What did you think
It's
of?
I was surprised at
Yeah.
how, like, the first couple episodes very fast paced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially nothing happens in that, like, first half of the show, first episode, right? But it's just
Mm-hmm.
really engaging dialogue, which I loved, right? Like, it felt very fast paced, even though they're just having a conversation in real time. And I was like, wow, this is pretty captivating. I was
Yeah.
surprised. And then you go into the rest of the show, and um, I was like appreciating how they're taking something that seems really mundane and then making it really interesting.
Yeah.
Like there's
Oh
there's
my goodness.
I found myself like noticing that there was a lot of these new mysteries they kept interjecting in, right? Which the
Mm-hmm.
audience has no idea what they're talking about yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, that's a good way to like generate interest and intrigue,
Yeah.
and kind of like the same thing Severance is doing, but on a just on a
Exactly.
dialogue level, right? So that was pretty
Yes.
cool.
So I was gonna mention this like uh because I just saw The Bear too like very recently.
Yeah.
It literally was a show that I was like I was gonna clean my room
Oh, okay.
and I was like I want something in the background
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
I just had nothing to watch and then The Bear kept popping up so I started playing it and even while I was like doing things it kept me so captivated that I'm like I need to stop and start over.
Yeah.
Um And so yeah, it was different. The cinematography was crazy, but it's interesting how the show like grabs your attention with all of these things that keep popping up, and they throw information at you, and you're like, wait, so what does that mean? But eventually, you kind of understand what's happening just as the story develops.
Yeah.
And Severance, when we started watching it, it was different because camera work is not chaotic.
No, no, right?
It's actually super controlled.
Yeah.
It's very it has
Clinical.
what's yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
Good word.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very clinical. Like everything, every shot I feel like it means something.
Yeah.
And the mystery, they throw mystery at you
Yeah.
with every other line that they say and it's just like, "What?" And it just keeps you it engages like it keeps you engaged.
Okay.
Um
Now that I have someone else to talk to about this, because I was talking to Brittany about it, and she was like, "Oh, cool, that's cool, right?"
oh,
Episode
sure,
one
yeah.
of season two, the opening shot where he's running down the hallway. Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Um when okay,
The
go
robot
on.
controlled camera.
Is it really robot
Oh
controlled?
yeah, yeah,
I
for
thought it was someone.
sure.
I thought
No,
no.
no, there's so it's a computer controlled camera first, right? Robot arm. I forgot what the brand is. Then it transitions to Steadicam. I thought it transitions to a drone shot when you're up there, but I think it was still Steadicam. And
Hmm.
then it goes back to robot arm, and then it goes back to Steadicam.
So it's a fake one shot.
It's a fake one shot, yes.
Yeah. And you can sort of I mean if you know film production, if you know cinematography, you kind of I feel like you can see where they make those very subtle changes.
Yeah,
Um when we were watching that shot,
yeah.
I I looked at Amber and I was like, "Have you ever had feelings for cinematography and camera work? Because I'm having feelings
Yeah.
for it." It's it was amazing.
It
It
was
was
my jaw was on the floor.
yeah.
It was just it was like everything that you could think of creatively to do was all done in that opening shot. Like there was some
Hmm.
green screen work in that because there was a part
Oh.
where the camera was in places where the wall would be, right?
Oh, right. When it
Uh,
kind of goes and it
yeah, go
follows. Yeah.
follows, even the elevator shot, right? Um, and I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like I think he's on a treadmill at one point. Um,
Oh, jeez. I
and
have to watch the
it's
BTS.
just so crazy good. I love that shot. It was so good. It's like,
So,
yeah,
yeah, that's the thing. So, Severance. I mean, I actually I haven't talked to anyone who's not in film about the show, and because like a lot of the people that I like talk to these days and hang out with, like we're all in film production,
right,
so
right.
we do a lot of like behind the scenes kind of stuff. So I feel like when we like even with you, when we talk about shows and stuff like that, we appreciate um, more than the story. We appreciate the lighting, the work behind the camera that goes into it.
Yeah.
And so when we appreciate a scene like this, it's like the camera work, the lighting, the different takes, the camera work, all of that, right? But I am curious to know how people that don't necessarily look at shows the same way we do, like, what did you like about it? Like, I don't know. I don't even know how to phrase my question. Because, like, everybody likes the scene, right?
Yeah.
But we all like it for different reasons. And I want to know why you like that scene. Like, do you like it because it just looks cool? Do you like it because even though you have no knowledge of camera work and stuff like that, you still appreciate it and you're like, wow, that's crazy camera work? Like, I don't know. Just,
No, I think that I try to think about that kind of stuff, right? Where how would it look? How does it look to someone else that isn't familiar with film or something like that, right?
mm-hmm,
Like we
mm-hmm,
can appreciate the shots, we can appreciate the timing of it and the actual production of it, of having to time the turns and the cuts and the invisible cuts and all that stuff, right? Because we can see that. And I was like, man, I wonder if there's an equivalence for me or you. And I was thinking maybe it could be like writing, right? Where a certain way something a certain dialogue, and I watch a lot of like these video essays that talk about film and dialogue and how it crescendos and there's a climax in within a scene based on the dialogue. Or there's this other channel that I watch that talked about Wolverine's costume in Deadpool,
mm-hmm.
and then how the crew were that worked on it went to go watch it together at the premiere, and they were noticing all these little details that they worked on. And there's other people in the comments talking about the costume itself, and I was like, oh, I didn't even notice that, right? Like
Yeah,
these little details, like, oh,
yeah,
this part of the costume translates well from the comic. And I was like, I didn't even notice, I just thought it looked cool, right?
yeah.
So I wonder if it's
That's
like
that.
that, right? Where someone that sees the scene, you're like, oh, that's so cool. I don't know why, but it's so cool.
Yeah. But see, that's what's so interesting. So I'm curious to hear from our viewers and listeners. Like, I don't know. Like, let us know what about it do you like? Like, why is it? Well, I mean, I know why it's popular. I mean, it's a good show. I can appreciate the show without getting all methodical and analytical about the behind the scenes or anything like that. But I do want to know, like, just let us know why you like it. What do you like about it? What don't you like about it? What do you think about, or what don't you think about? Because for me, the biggest thing was the lighting and framing. Like, framing was everything in that show. Every
Mm-hmm.
shot was so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I wish I was that genius with camera.
Right? Oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh. And the flashback episode where it was explaining what's her name? Mark's and Miss Casey's backstory.
Uh,
Where
Gemma.
that's Gemma, right? And that whole episode was like directed by the cinematographer. And so you could see how why it's
Mm,
such a pretty episode, right?
mm-hmm.
Very, very contrast, a big contrast to like the rest of the show where it's, the clinical shots. And this one was like very like home video style, and you got the filters on there. And I was like, wow, such a very
Very,
gorgeous looking episode.
very, very warm, very
Yeah,
dreamy,
right? Yeah.
but it somehow still fits and it's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like there's some shows where, like, if the cinematography changes or even the lighting changes a little bit, like, you can tell and it kind of throws you off.
I can think of
Um,
some movies that do that.
well, okay,
Movies that
so
I've done that do that. Or I participated in, not movies that I've made.
right, right. I mean, but that's the thing is, like, even I think for, like, you and I, we notice this a lot in amateur movies, like a lot of the indie filmmakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We can tell that they use a different camera. We can tell that they use a different gaffer, a different lighting
Yeah.
technician,
Mhm.
uh, stuff like that. But it, and I'm gonna dive into a different show for a second here to, you know, to prove my point, but with Daredevil. So you haven't seen Daredevil yet, have you?
No.
Okay. So seasons 1, 2, 3. I think it's only 3 seasons. The original Netflix show. The whole series is perfect. It's so good. The story is amazing, but in on a technical level, the sound design, the dialogue, the lighting, the camera work, the cinematography, everything matches. Like you can watch the very first episode and the very last episode, and you can tell that it's the
The
same
same
people,
person. Oh, okay.
and it makes it just matches. So now we have Disney's version of Daredevil. So there's Daredevil Born Again, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm enjoying the show. I don't think it's bad at all. But the lighting and the camera work are so different that it does take me a minute to kind of get back into the show and remember that I'm watching Daredevil again.
It's a Netflix
Because
versus Disney show, essentially.
yeah, but the thing is, like, they were even like, oh, we're bringing back like everybody that worked on the Netflix one, and I can tell that they're trying,
No.
but you can tell that it's just not the same. And I don't know. I'm not trying to be like picky about it because I
Right,
understand
right.
it's a different production. Obviously, people are gonna have different equipment and whatever, but
It's been
it's
years, right?
it's so different.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. There's a lot of TV shows and movies that you can just tell. You can have all of the same actors and everything, but if the lighting changes or the camera work changes, it can be a little jarring.
Interesting.
Um,
Okay.
but looking at these episodes where it's usually very clean and what did you call it? Clinical?
Clinical, yeah.
Yeah. Very sharp, very geometrical. And then we get this one episode that's more soft and
Yeah.
dreamy. It somehow still matches the vibe, and that's amazing that they can do that.
Right? Oh man. It's so good. All right. I want to hear your theories.
Um, what do I think is gonna happen?
What do you think? Well, they kind of revealed a lot in this last episode, right? Like, I guess
Yeah.
when they were doing the MDR work, what was your initial theory on what they were doing?
You mean like what I thought they were doing when she was going into all of these rooms and stuff like that, like
No,
all of that?
no, with the when they're doing their computer work, putting all these numbers into the boxes and all that stuff.
Oh, like what my first thought
Yeah.
was before I knew anything.
Yep.
I don't, dude. I know I just watched this like
I
2 weeks
no,
ago.
because you binged it, right? Because there's a lot of information you
Yeah,
haven't had a
yeah.
chance to
I
process.
think I think I was receiving too much information too fast, and I don't think I was able able to process like an idea
Yeah.
um, before it became. I don't want to say no. I do. Somewhat irrelevant because the story was not about what they were doing, but it was rather like why they're doing it.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Um, I guess my first thought was that they were doing something sketchy. I mean, I think that's kind of the point of it, right? It's like, oh, what are they doing? At some point, I did think that it was just an experiment.
Mm,
Um,
okay.
I think I don't. I think it was towards the end of season one. Either the uh, I don't think it was the season finale. I think it was the episode before. I think they talk about something about finishing the program or that
Cold
he's at like
Harbor or
90s.
whatever, 96%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
kind of bring it up for the first time.
yeah, yeah.
And at that point, I was like, maybe they're just experiments, like psychological experiments on the people. Um, kind of like lab rats, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, it kind of that matches right with the long hallways and stuff like that. Um,
Ooh, that's interesting. Okay, I like that.
yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it felt more of like they're not doing something for the company, it's more of like the company is studying them as
Them. Okay.
people and what the brain would do when they have no outside information. Which I guess in a way it kind of it was,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. No, yeah. For the longest time, I thought it was cloning. I thought because
Oh,
you know how they say when they're doing their work, they're basing it just based off feelings, right? You feel
mm-hmm.
something like this and you just put it in a box. I always thought they were calibrating like a clone version of themselves so that they can match the emotion with whatever they think it is and then input it into the clone. And then
And
that
they were
idea
using
just got blown away because of the
then they
last
used the
episode.
goat DNA.
Goat, right? The whole goat thing was weird. Like,
Yeah, it
I
was.
no explanation on that besides the sacrificial goat thing.
Yeah, it got kind of crazy there at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, it got a little weird towards the end there.
But it's still fun.
I know. Oh my gosh.
One of my theories, I actually think I have it written down. Um, this was I don't actually okay, I did it March 18th. So I think it was either right at the end of season 1 or right at the beginning of season 2.
Mm-hmm.
My note was the people inside are the real people and the people outside are the severed people. Or at least Mark and Miss Claire.
Mark
So,
and Miss Claire. You Miss Casey?
okay, so Miss Casey, yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay, so it was season 1 when I came up with that idea. And for a moment I thought, what if it actually was like that, right? Like the people inside are actually the real people. But then I was like, wait, no, because they don't even know their names or anything like that. But one thing that I found really interesting is that everybody was first name, last name, initial. But then
Okay. Okay.
but then Miss Casey was Miss Casey, right? So that was
Oh
kind of
yeah.
like
Yeah.
how come it's Mark S, Helly R, but it's Miss Casey? Why not the first name? And so at that point I was like, what if she's the one that's backward? Like the real person is inside and I don't know. It's some weird idea.
Where it's like
Um
flipped, right? The twist. I see. I
mhm.
see what you're going. I see where you're going with that.
and and then what happened is what I texted you this, but I we had Amber and I had these ideas of like what was happening, and I'm like, you know what I think Miss Casey could be Mark's wife.
Oh,
And
you
like,
already
wouldn't that
called
be
it. Wow.
so
Okay.
I had called it, but it was more of like a I want to see.
Okay. Okay.
So we had talked about that, and then we paused the episode, or didn't pause the episode. It was in between episodes. Uh, and we were just we were, I don't know, brushing our teeth or something, and they were gonna watch the next episode. And then um, I get Apple TV on, and I go to Severance, but I don't press play on it or anything like that. So then the trailer starts playing,
Oh,
and the
I see.
first thing
I
we
see.
hear is Mark S saying, "Apparently Miss Casey is my wife," because it was a trailer for season
Yeah. Yeah.
2,
Yeah. I remember.
and we were like, "No." I mean, it was cool to know that my assumption was right.
Yeah.
But even though you have ideas, like you still want to be like you want to
You
be
don't.
surprised. You want to
Yeah. You
catch
don't want to
it.
be spoiled, right?
Yeah. And it was the next episode they find out.
Okay. So it wasn't.
It's
It wasn't that bad.
it wasn't terrible, but yeah, it was the episode where they use the overtime thing.
The overtime contingency.
Yeah. Oh, I guess it was the season finale. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what it was. Um, but yeah, that was uh,
Oh
that was
man.
that was fun.
I think Miss Huang is related to them somehow. Little girl.
You think so?
This might.
I've been
I might be
been
making
trying to figure that
assumptions
out.
here, but I mean, Miss Casey's Asian, Miss Huang's Asian, right? I don't know
Ooh.
if that's on purpose
Ooh.
casting or I'm making bad assumptions.
But when would they have gotten her? Because Miss Casey, like they
Yeah, that
didn't have
was it
kids.
kind of got killed when they had um that back that flashback episode.
Wait,
My theory kind of threw out the window. Got thrown
no,
out the
but
window.
wait though, because they were trying to get pregnant, and then she had a miscarriage.
Right, right.
But then they were also doing those tests already on them, right? Lumen was the one doing the blood drawing and all that stuff. So would it be possible that maybe Miss Huang is a
Re-
clone?
Clone. Oh, oh. Okay, okay.
What if they took I mean, I'm going a little off of like real
Oh,
science here, but
okay, okay.
what if during them drawing the blood and stuff like that, they remove the DNA to make the clone, which somehow it causes the miscarriage. Um, but then they use that, and then they're creating all of these different identities from her, and they grabbed one of them and create a clone that grew to be a child. I don't know. I know it seems a little
No, I still
far
feel like
fetched.
yeah, cloning. I want to say cloning. The goats seem like a good imagery. You know the whole dolly sheep cloning thing? Remember
Mm-hmm.
that being a thing? Like I want to
Yeah.
say that. And then, right, when they get to the goat place and they're also like, "Oh, these people have belly buttons." And the ones that the groups don't have belly buttons.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
After they're like, okay, we'll let you go, and they're like, but you have to show us your belly buttons.
Yeah.
Like to me at first that was like a bit of a funny thing, I guess. Just kind of like
A
that was weird,
throwaway
but
type. Yeah.
yeah, just kind of like a random joke. But that actually would make sense.
Yeah, that's why. I mean, if you grow people, they obviously would not have. Well, I don't know.
Maybe they would be like Kyle
You still
XY.
have to feed an embryo somehow. Maybe not through an umbilical cord. I don't know. I don't know. That's one mystery
Okay,
that just didn't even get addressed.
I'm sure we'll get it in the next season because in season 1 we got the goats for the first time.
Oh yeah. Okay.
It's when we saw it the first time, but it was also kind of like a quick thing. It's like, no, the goats are not red, and they're like, oh, okay, sorry, and then they leave, and then we don't see that again until season 2.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm gonna ask you something because I think I there's something about the show that I didn't understand. So what they were doing on the computers is they're collecting feelings,
Yeah.
right? They're
Yeah.
like so like 25 feelings, I guess. That's why some feel angry, some feel happy, and this and that,
Oh yeah. Right. Right. Right.
right?
They named it 25 something. Um. Shoot. It was. I know what you mean. Like different personalities, right?
Yeah. So and then so what's her name?
Gemma.
Gemma. So Gemma is going to all of these different rooms, and each room is somebody completely different, right? Uh, and then when she gets to the last one where the voice is like, "Hey, disassemble this crib," and he says, "Fantastic. There's absolutely no emotions or anything like that."
Yeah.
What was your assumption at that point? Like, what do you think they're doing at that point? Because I want to know if my thought was the same as everyone else's. Like if it was the one that's supposed to
S-
be.
I mean, I kind of spoiled it for myself because I read people's theories, and I kind of don't want to because I want to like figure it out myself. But one I read was is this idea that Lumen wanted to create a docile army or docile group of people, and they wanted to figure out how to. I guess in these each of these rooms, they're trying to figure out what emotion that is and what emotion that is, and different emotions based on different situations. Which is interesting because dentists probably represent fear, and then some other rooms like the Christmas card room was like defiance or something like that. I don't know
Maybe,
which.
yeah.
Uh, but then when it got confirmed on that final episode when she's making the um the crib,
Hmm.
and the guy was like, "Oh, she's not feeling anything. There's no association, kind of like an erasure of memories." And I'm guessing memories are associated with emotions, and so the fact that she's not acting emotionally means like she doesn't have any memories. And they were like excited because like, oh my gosh, this is the perfect specimen, right? Or perfect army, most obedient person that they were
Hmm.
trying to create. That's I think that goes along with that theory I read, was that it was
Yeah.
this docile group of people.
So that was my thought too. When he said that, I was like, wow, outstanding. Like she has no feelings or anything like
Right?
that, but she's doing the work. To me, it felt like, oh, they're trying to me it wasn't like army. To me it was more of like workers, like
Workers, yeah.
slaves
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah.
Because then what it seemed like to me is they're getting people to retain enough information on their brains to do a task,
Yeah.
but not feel anything else like fatigue, anger, happiness, or anything like that. They're literally just there to do the work. Because I think that's kind of the parallel to the severed floor,
That's
is that
true.
you have these four people that are working together,
Yeah.
but then they create friendships, they fall in love, they get angry, they
Yeah.
get sad,
Yeah.
like they have all of these feelings. And that's the thing, is like they're all feeling all of the feelings, which
You don't want
leads
that in
to,
employees, right?
yeah, you just want them to work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, which is interesting because I'm like, maybe that's what they're doing. They're trying to remove all of those feelings so that they can create basically a human robot that
Okay, that
just
makes
obeys.
sense. That makes sense.
But why is the interesting part. It's like, why do they need that?
I'm thinking there's like part of it is they wanted this severance thing first, and then this whole docile thing came about after the fact. Because we have, it seems like, oh, one of the rooms was even like the plane crash, right? Where Gemma's in a plane and it's about to crash, like turbulence and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't about anything about like obedience or anything like that. It was just this emotion of fear. And it was weird because the dentist scene, when she went in there, got her teeth done, I'm assuming, and then comes back, like her that Innie's lifetime is just going to the dentist all the time.
Which
All
really
right.
sucks.
Which sucks for that Innie. And I'm wondering if Lumen's trying to solve that idea where you just go in there, do what you need to do, and then not have to worry about these Innies having their own lives and suffering, right?
Oh, I see.
So they're trying
So
to
it's more of
perfect
like,
their product. Because they have it with the birthing cabin, right?
yeah.
You have people go there to give birth. The Audis don't have to experience the whole 9 months or whatever. They just go in there, boom, new kid, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was it took with that scene with the pregnancy, that took me a minute to catch on to.
Yeah, same here.
Like I didn't grasp the concept that that was an innie
Yeah.
giving
Yep.
birth,
Yep.
and then she went out and it was like an outie.
Yeah. No,
To
that took
me,
me a
to
while
me,
too.
the person was just kind of like, why is this person trying to be my friend?
Yeah.
Like after I gave birth
Yep.
to my child, and I thought she was just being kind of mean. And then after the name, because she's like William, right? And she's like, no, this is whatever. I was like, oh, and it just.
No, yeah, same happened to me.
But
Yeah.
that is interesting. Maybe that is what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to perfect the innie so that when people do these procedures and stuff like that, this secondary persona doesn't have that type of consciousness
Or
that the
memory.
innies
Yeah.
currently have, or memory. Yeah,
Yeah.
that it's kind of like a new, uh, maybe. So Gemma got split into 25 people, and each person was removed, and it got to the point where like there's just kind of like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever I'm told. So maybe that is what they're trying to do, is just somebody that won't suffer
Yeah.
as it continues to do all of the things that the person doesn't want to do.
Yeah. I mean, I'm
That's
not saying Lumen
very.
is ethical. I'm sure there's something more sinister, more,
No, yeah,
right?
absolutely. That's the I think that's one of the things I like about the show is like the morals and the ethics of what's happening is like it's very thought provoking,
Right?
and I'm sure that's why people like it.
Yeah, I just remembered we haven't even explained the weird clones they saw themselves when they went to the camping trip. That's the best way I can describe it. Their the camping trip
You're
episode.
right.
Like they saw hallucinations of themselves, but like distorted versions, and they didn't even
But
explain
were
that.
they hallucinations
Were they hallucinations or were
or
they
were they
real
real
people? I
people?
don't know.
I don't.
All because they all saw it
Jinx.
at the same time, right?
Yeah.
On top of the waterfall.
Yeah, because they're all seeing that they're seeing them one at a time, but then we don't see them again
Yeah.
after the waterfall. So maybe they are clones. Because again, it's not like they were all hallucinating. It's not like they had them in a room and they like, you know,
Yeah.
programmed their
No.
brains
Right.
to see
Yeah. Yeah.
something.
That was a real. Yeah, that was real. I don't know. I don't know.
Interesting. Oh, I want to know. I want more people to give me their thoughts in the comment section.
Yes. Tell us your
Cause
theories. I want to know.
yeah. Oh man, I hadn't thought about that. That's crazy.
All right. Here's another one. You want to hear another one?
Yep.
Okay. So we know for a fact that Apple, when they make their shows and movies, they want their characters to use Apple products. Have you
Yes.
seen any of the characters use Apple products?
No,
Right? Even
I
the
don't think
even
so.
the Vitriol episode, right? The Miss Cobell episode.
Uh,
Her phone. That was not an Apple phone, right?
yeah.
Let me take it further for you. You know the rule about Apple
Apple products. Yep.
allowing certain characters to use Apple products. Have you heard that rule before?
I have.
Right?
I am very aware of it.
Essentially, the rule is villains cannot use Apple products. Not allowed to.
Mm-hmm.
That's a licensing issue. Um, Apparently, I just learned this. If you're into Battlefield, totally off subject. The M82 Barrett sniper rifle, the 50 cal 50, right? The 50 cal
Uh-huh.
sniper rifle is not allowed to be used in the game as one of the factions that use it because they don't want the bad guys to be able to use the M82 Barrett sniper rifle. And so the solution to that in Battlefield 4 or 3, I don't remember, is that it was a pickup. So that way there was no designated faction that could use that sniper rifle. Same idea. They
Oh,
don't want the bad guys
interesting.
to be using this weapon. So
Yeah.
in order to license the use of that weapon, they say, hey, if you want to use it in your movie or games, only the good guys can use it.
Yeah, but so I think it should be noted that just because bad people can't use Apple products doesn't mean that if they're not using an Apple product that they are the bad guys.
Yeah, right,
Like good guys can still use like Android phones and other products
right.
and not mean that they're a bad guy. But it does kind of ruin it a little bit that only good guys can wear use Apple products
Yeah,
because in certain
kind of gives it
movies
away, right?
it kind of gives it away, which I actually understand why a lot of movies and TV shows are moving to other phones in general. Like I've noticed that a lot of people, a lot of shows are using the Google Pixel.
Ah,
hmm And both good and bad people use the Google Pixel because that way it doesn't give away the, oh, he has an Apple phone, so he can't be the bad guy. But I've noticed
interesting.
you'll see a lot of people with this phone, Pixel, you'll see the Pixel bar for the camera.
I see. Yeah, yeah.
It's interesting. But also, going back to Severance, um, one thing I really like about it, talking about technology, is that all of the cars, every single car is pre 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
Mm-hmm.
car post 2000s. They're all from the 80s and 90s.
Mm-hmm. So going back to that idea of Apple products, we could even say maybe the Apple product hasn't been invented yet. We've never
But they're
explicitly been told what time period this is.
this is true, but they do have smartphones.
That's true. That is true.
But the computer technology is also like
It's
very
very
outdated. It's
old.
very retro.
You know,
It's
someone
like
told.
this.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's like it's a weird mix of like retro futuristic aesthetic as far as the technology goes. I like
Yes.
it. I really like it a lot. But it's interesting.
Someone was telling me a theory of his. Um, he talked about the whole Apple product, right? But he pointed out,
hmm
his friend pointed out a very small detail on Mark's watch. I sent you a picture on the chat, right? And this
Just
idea,
not.
this
Let's see.
watch has a red star on it, which implies people are saying it's involving a star from that it's a Russian dive watch. And so his friend theorizes that this is taking place in an alternate timeline where the Soviet Union did not collapse.
Interesting.
All right.
Oh,
it's,
so
it's very out there.
this this watch it does there is a Russian watch called the Bostock,
Oh
I
yeah,
think
you're
it's
a
called.
watch guy. That's right.
And the color and even the logo design is very similar to that watch. It's a diver watch,
Yeah.
and I mean, this I'm not like super into watches anymore. Like I still enjoy them and everything, but I don't know if this is a real watch or not. But that's a really interesting theory, and I can see that happening.
Yeah, that's what people are saying. Alternate timeline, which could explain, right? The old style aesthetic, old cars, but then still having smartphones.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
man,
that
yeah, I
actually.
totally forgot about
Well, and then
this.
it's like seems like it's always winter.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, I understand this is maybe a 1 2 month period of time that we've
Yeah.
seen so far, but still, like when we think of Russia, we typically imagine it in the winter time, or at least I do. I don't know.
No, no,
Am I
I get
weird?
it. It was funny because I heard that theory, and then it was around the time that episode where they had the outing, the camping trip. And I was like, oh, this snowy, vast area looks like Russia or something.
Dude, their attires look Russian.
Really? tires?
Yeah, yeah, their jackets and hats.
Yeah.
They're yeah. Look that up. Um, Severance camping episode, and then look at images. Yeah, they're all literally wearing like Russian jackets and hats.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. Their
Dude,
tire.
that's
Yep.
crazy.
That's I don't know. Yeah. And it's funny because Britt was pointing out it's like a lot of the style. The style is very you really can't tell what time period because a lot of the styles that you see are like coming back now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you can't tell if it's modern, you can't tell if it's the past. And so it's and then you have modern phones. That's the one that's throwing me off. I was convinced that I was taking in the past, but modern phones, man, that throws it off.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, they're not like OG smartphones from like 2008
Yeah,
or
no, this is like
2006 or
full
whatever.
on
This
touch screens,
is
right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Oh man, that's crazy.
Uh, that's very interesting. But I do like it. I like visually. I enjoy it. I think it looks really cool.
What was your
And I've
opinion on the last episode? The last shot specifically.
it's heartbreaking, dude.
Heartbreak. Yeah, right? Yeah.
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 Okay, so from a story point of view, yeah, it sucks. But also, I understand. Like the innie is making the hardest choice, right?
Right.
He didn't want to do this in the first place. Like he
Mm-hmm.
gets in a fight with his Audi about why he would do that, and he's like, "We cease to exist."
Oh, I love that scene, by the way. The scene where they're
Yeah,
talking
it's
to each other. That's
so good.
so
Yeah,
good. So good.
it's really good. It's funny like that you would think that they would get along and they would help each other out, but in reality, it's like their worldviews are completely different. Um, so yeah, I understand the struggle of the indie because he understands that if he steps out,
He's
he's stepping into the unknown. Who knows if he's gonna disappear forever or if he's gonna get reintegrated
yeah.
um or what, right? And at this moment, he's looking at his Audi's wife, but then he turns around and then he sees the woman that he loves in his world.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, what would you do? Like, if you're you, right? Like, it's your persona, but then you have a split personality that tells you, like, hey, man, stop to exist so I can have my life. But then you see the person you love. Would you stay with the person you love? Or would you give your life for someone else?
No, right?
Yeah,
I
it's
don't.
a hard question.
It's interesting because I feel like if I was severed, my innie would do the self-sacrifice.
You think so?
I think so. Because I'm the type that would be like, you know what, for the greater good, whatever. Um, and that knowing that this whole reality I've been living was actually like a lie or kind of like fabricated. So I'm like, okay, no, no point. Even though I feel like I'm real, I know the reality of it. I know this relationship that I potentially have is probably fabricated too. So I was like, okay, well, if someone in the real world gets to live their life, I'd rather let them do it. Let them have it. It would suck, but um, right?
But that's the thing.
Huh.
So would you? Uh, so what if it was the opposite? What if you were the Audi and the innie was saying, "Hey, man, like I have this life now. Like let me have it."
I would have. I think I think Mark missed the idea of saying once you're reintegrated, we're gonna become one person. It's not about who's controlling who. You're gonna have the same memories I have. We're gonna like this gate of memories will just be unlocked, and so everything will be together as if we're one person.
Right.
I think that would have saved that conflict. I
M-
think that's how Severance
Maybe.
works, right? I'm
It's
still like, is it a new person or is it just a segmented person?
no. I mean, it makes sense because Pity, Pete, Petey, Pete, the friend,
Yeah.
he was one person. Like he remembered both things. He
Yeah,
went to
right?
Mark and he's
Yeah.
like, no, like we were friends at work and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
so it seems like he's one person, but it seems like he went a little crazy
Cuckoo.
before he died,
That's true.
and he saw himself, which is kind of weird. So, um, I mean, yeah, it might have fixed it, but also, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to say, like, I understand why the indie Mark made that
Yeah.
decision, even though we all really wanted him to obviously get
Yeah.
out.
No, I get it.
At this a parallel thought to this, if he had gone out, that would be it.
Yeah,
Like
the show would be
we
over, right?
we get no season three because that's it.
Like I
Um,
was I was kind of happy for them, right? That they went back in because Heliar and Mark, they've been so at the mercy of the Audis. Everything for the Audis, right? And so
mhm.
this was like their way of, of getting back at them, saying, you know what, we've been following you for this whole time. It's time for some payback, right? Mark's gonna choose me. You got to deal with it how we have been dealing, with the Audi stuff. So it's our turn to enjoy life. I was like, that's a poetic way to end the season, I think.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I think I liked it. Like it was a bittersweet ending,
Right.
and I am a sucker for bittersweet endings.
My
I
only
don't know why.
gripe was that freeze frame. I don't
Yeah.
like freeze frames, right?
I all I
Oh
could think
my
of all
gosh.
I could think of was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of
Oh,
Azkaban. I think
yeah.
that's the one, or Chamber of. I don't know
Yeah,
which one it
yeah,
was.
yeah.
Where he's flying and he's just like, ah! Yeah.
On the broom, yeah.
Um, I don't
I
know
was like,
why
what is
well,
that?
okay, but it kind of goes on brand with it. There's
Yes,
so
yes.
many funny parts to this show uh, that I don't even care.
No,
It's cheesy, yes,
it
but
was deliberate, right? Because the
yeah.
credit sequence was just so different, right?
Hmm.
You have like the semi like sort of marvelish type ending with the animation, but then you have that old film filter going, where like
Hmm.
the words are like kind of like that because it simulates film, and you have the film dirt and film grain. You're like, what are we watching all of a sudden? And that was deliberate, and that goes perfectly well with that freeze frame. So I was like, as I was watching the sequence, I was like, okay, it's forgivable. It was on purpose.
Yeah, yeah. Dude, this show's so funny. Like I know season two is not as funny as season one because season one had a lot of really funny
Yeah, yep,
bits
yep.
in every episode. But I just have to say one of the funniest moments is when um Milchick is giving the file to what's his name?
Uh,
Mustache,
oh,
the guy that
John
tried to
Turturro's
quit.
character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Oh
I
my
can think of
gosh.
I can think of
Irving.
Yeah, but not Irving, the other guy. Sorry, the other guy.
Oh, huh?
Oh, what the crap is
The
his name?
mustache guy? That's Irving,
Well,
right?
no. Sorry, with the beard.
Oh, the beard. Oh, shoot. Oh, and that's a whole thing that's another topic I want to talk about maybe for next time.
What's his name? It's not Bert. No.
Uh,
Where is Dylan?
Dylan. Yes, yes, yes.
Dylan. So Dylan tries to quit, and then he gets denied, and then Mr. Milchick brings him the folder with his denial, and he like slides it, and then he turns around and
And he
starts running.
runs. Oh, I was like, what is this?
It's so funny. I love and hate. I have a love hate relationship with
Milkshake.
Mr. Milchick
Yeah.
because I think he's a fantastic character. He's amazing. He's super funny. And every scene he's in, I'm just like, oh, let's see what this guy's got, going on today. But he's also like so mean sometimes. Anyway,
Oh man.
I just love that bit. It was so funny.
Well, guys, what did you think of the season finale? What did you think of the freeze frame? Did your theories get blown away like mine did? And what do you think is coming up next? Let us know in the comments. Because this show is amazing.
It
I
really
feel like
is.
we have more to talk about with Severance.
Oh,
So,
yeah, we could talk. There's so many things to
right?
talk about.
Right? So make sure you're subscribed and bells for that next episode will do. Because I really want to talk about it.
We'll talk more about it. I think since you've started the bear, I think we should definitely talk about the bear
Ah, yes, yes. That'll be a great one.
because I am excited to see what you have to say about how the story progresses and your thoughts on not just the story progression, but another type of progression that I'm sure you will notice.
Okay,
Um,
okay. All right. I
but
like.
yeah, we are so back. I am excited to keep talking about all of these shows and keep coming up with all these like theories about Severance and stuff like that. Hopefully, we don't wait another 3 years.
Oh man.
Um, but thanks everybody for joining us today and talking about Severance. We barely scratched the surface,
Psh, right?
and we'll see you guys next week, same time.
Same place.
All right,
We'll catch you next time, guys.
all right. Peace.
See ya.